30. Maroni, there'll be 3 seconds of drum beating before Binkley should talk. But his mic will be open the whole time since it's quick. 20. 15. Coming up on sound with spin silent. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and fade. Stand by, Binkley. And you kind of keep Binkley. Stand by to wipe to Mini 1.
The Mille Lacs Band is buying hotels in downtown St. Paul. Heather?
Wipe Mini 1, Q Heather.
Some of the big changes that
stand by to wipe Q, stand by
Angela.
Angela.
Coming to these hotels that's going up.
Wipe Q, Angela.
And it's a busy
stand by to wipe to Red.
City as the
stand by Mike.
Get ready to get to work selecting a new pope. What we know about tomorrow's start to the process.
Wipe Q, Mike.
And
stand by to with Grain.
A beautiful new addition for a member of the WCCO news team.
Dissolving.
Now, from Minnesota's most watched station, this is WCCO.
Jim, start your move on 2, dissolve.
Good afternoon, I'm Mike Binkley.
I'm Angela Davis.
Thank you for joining us. 2 major hotels in St. Paul,
the
Hilton and the Crown Plaza, are being purchased by the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe.
Those 2 hotels account for about half the hotel rooms in the downtown area. Heather Brown has more from St. Paul, and Heather, obviously they have big plans.
They certainly do, Mike, but one of the big changes that you will not see any casinos coming to downtown St. Paul. They say buying up these hotels is just a way to diversify their investments in a hospitality space that they're quite comfortable with. This is probably one of the worst kept secrets in downtown St. Paul. We actually reported on this plan about 2 months ago, but this is the first time that the band is publicly releasing the names. We're talking about the Doubletree Hilton and the Crown Plaza. Now, they do plan on some big changes, trying to attract some different crowds. Folks that might stay in Minneapolis, people coming in from the Mall of America, coming in from the airport. They are partnering with Graves Hospitality, who owns the Graves Hotel in Minneapolis, and they say they want to open up some new restaurants, some exciting spaces, they call them, that cater beyond just the hotel crowd, using the example of the Cosmos restaurant there at the Graves Hotel in Minneapolis. As for the Doubletree, the space is pretty closed up right now. They want to open it up to street level outdoor seating at a new restaurant here. The Crown Plaza, though, the one right along the river, that's where you could see some significant change. They're actually considering rebranding it, renaming it away from the Crown Plaza. Now, this is the band's first venture into St. Paul. They recently made headlines for losing their downtown Macy's, but also has a lot of momentum there with the light rail and with the new stadium coming. The band says this area was just ripe for investment.
Dissolving sound 17. Share those goals. Stand by Heather. Mini 1.
And good citizens. We do not want to change St. Paul. We want to be a part of St. Paul's business community.
5 seconds.
We want to help St. Paul with its business and its economic goals. And we now share those goals.
Take you, Heather.
Now, the band said today it's too early to give specific timelines or even specific cost estimates.
But
the first thing they want to do is do some renovations, do some upgrades that they have to do for the franchise. Then they're going to look into those restaurants. And then finally, in a year or in 2 years, we should see the rebranding of the Crown Plaza. Mike, Angela.
Take 2 bucks.
Heather, you were talking about how the band wants to diversify, expanding beyond gambling. Do they plan to buy up any more hotels?
Ready, Mini 1.
They do. They
Take
say
Mini
this
1.
is just the first step. So we should expect them to be all over the country. They say they're looking in New York City, Washington, D.C., San Francisco, San Antonio. They say locally they're looking at some spots at the Mall of America and Minneapolis. So there should be news coming out of them within the next couple of months.
All right, thank you, Heather.
Take 1.
Murder charges are being filed today in the death of a 37-year-old woman and her unborn child in Apple Valley.
Take Red.
Police found the woman last Thursday morning after being called by the woman's 36-year-old husband. She was lying at the bottom of the stairs in an apartment. She was immediately transported to Fairview Ridges Hospital, where she died about an hour later. More information will be released at a 1 o'clock news conference at the Dakota County Law Enforcement Center in Hastings.
Take 2.
We're waiting to hear from state leaders about the problem with TurboTax and other computer tax programs.
Take VO.
Friday, Minnesota Department of Revenue said it doesn't trust state returns that are coming from TurboTax and some other tax software products from Intuit. 11,000 returns haven't been processed because the state is waiting for the software company to fix some coding problems. For now, the state is telling people to hold off on filing or use a different type of software.
Take one.
A Delta Airlines jet went off of a
Pretty
runway
VO.
in Houston this morning.
Take VO.
The jet then
Pretty
got
free
stuck in
OTS.
the grass, and shuttle buses had to take the passengers back to the terminal. Fortunately, nobody was hurt. 70 passengers were on the plane, which was preparing to depart for Atlanta. Airport officials said the jet went off the tarmac as it was turning around because it had some radio issues. Somehow the plane's front wheel got stuck in the grass.
Take 3.
2 more Americans
Pretty
have
red.
been killed in Afghanistan by someone who was supposed to be our ally. It
Take
happened
red.
when an Afghan police officer was visiting a police headquarters in Wardak province. Officials say the officer opened fire on
22.
both U.S. and Afghan forces. The attacker was killed in the shootout, along with 2 other Afghan policemen.
Take 2.
The 115
Pretty
cardinals
server
who will
sound.
choose the next pope begin their secret conclave tomorrow afternoon.
Randall Kingston is in Vatican City with the latest developments.
Take sound. Minute 30, they may over. Here's the out.
This morning before beginning the conclave to elect a new pope. They've been discussing the qualities needed in the next leader of the church. Canadian Cardinal Thomas Collins was asked about reports of disagreements between the 115 voting cardinals.
Divisions within. Surely you jest. No, I mean everyone had 115 different people.
The robe, hat, and shoes the new pope will wear
Minute
were
package.
unpacked today. The Vatican also released new footage of the Sistine Chapel, which has been transformed into a papal polling place. Copies of Vatican documents and voting instructions have been
Wow.
placed on the tables where the cardinals will sit. The first vote is expected Tuesday afternoon.
It's unlikely that there would be white smoke on the first ballot.
In preparation for the vote, Vatican workers hung red curtains on the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, where the new pope will be introduced to the world. There are said to be as many as a dozen top candidates. Vatican experts from the
30
New
package.
Italian newspaper have named 3 favorites.
Yeah, it's camera 1 from
Boston
this.
Cardinal Sean O'Malley, Odilo Shera from Brazil, and Italy's Angelo Scola.
Then there's the real possibility that these are the cardinals that the press is talking about, and the cardinals really aren't talking about. We'll have to wait and see.
About
10
90
seconds,
people,
stand by,
including
ready, 1.
chauffeurs
It'll
and
be 1 to 3 on the
staffers
floor.
at residence where cardinals are staying take an oath of secrecy today. They are promising not to divulge any secrets they may overhear.
Taking cue.
A Vatican press
33
secretary
OTS.
predicts there will be a new pope by the end of the week.
Take 3.
Japan is marking the 2nd anniversary of the
Pretty server
earthquake
VO.
and tsunami that killed nearly 20,000 people.
Take VO.
The country is still struggling to rebuild.
Ready 1.
Much of Japan's coastline is still desolate 2 years after the deadly tsunami swept through. Japan's prime minister is promising to speed up the process of rebuilding. Japan restarted 2 of its 50 nuclear reactors last summer, but most Japanese citizens are opposed to restarting more plants.
Take 1.
Investigators say speed was a
Pretty VO.
factor in a crash in Ohio that killed 6 teenagers.
Take
There
VO.
were 8 teens in the SUV
Pretty
when
two.
it smashed into a guardrail and flipped over into a pond about an hour east of Cleveland. This happened at 7:15 yesterday morning. A 19-year-old was driving. She died along with 5 boys who were between the ages of 14 and 17.
Take 2.
The traffic accidents are the leading
Pretty server
cause
VO.
of death for teenagers.
We met one teen in Wisconsin who hopes his story helps other young drivers.
Take VO.
Last March, Cody Varney
Stand by,
nearly
does all
died
sound.
when the pickup he was riding in rolled 3 times. He was getting a ride home from school from a friend when the driver took a turn too quickly. Cody suffered broken bones and 3rd-degree burns, which kept him in the hospital 4 months. He still has trouble walking. He and a friend documented his recovery in a 20-minute video that he plans to show to other teenage drivers. Cody thinks his first-person perspective will connect with others his age.
Dissolve sound. 26. Suffer serious injuries. Double bite.
And I don't think a lot of my classmates knew that, but I don't want
3 to 1 on the floor.
where I have to go to a funeral because
10.
of speeding and reckless driving.
Young teenagers, when they come in after a car accident, they usually think they're invincible. And they realize
5,
pretty
stand by, ready,
quickly
3.
that they can suffer some pretty serious injuries.
Taking cue.
Cody says
Pretty
his
one.
video will be used in driver's ed courses around his hometown of Glenwood City, Wisconsin. His other message, wear a seatbelt. He admitted he never wore one before, but he did on the day of the crash, and he believes it saved his life.
Take 1.
Will an aspirin a day keep
Pretty server VO.
melanoma away? Hear what researchers
Take
say
VO.
can happen if you take aspirin for
Stand by to wipe bread.
years.
White bread.
Plus, our Holly Wagner had
Ready,
her baby this
three.
morning. We'll tell you
Stand
what
by
she
adding
has her
Dusty.
name there. on the butcher.
Dissolve
Some
3.
proud uncles
31.
and aunties here in the studio this afternoon.
Yeah, she was an early riser, just like her mom,
Yeah.
the baby was.
Yep.
And
Great
turn
to
one
see
take.
more cute pictures. Outside today, we're seeing more clouds. It's not all that cute. In particular, across the metro area, where it's been 4 days, well, almost, since we've seen the sun. We won't see any today. Cloudy skies from 30, breezy, cool, kind of holding steady through the afternoon. 5 o'clock, 30 degrees. Still cloudy at 8 o'clock, and temperatures near 27. At least the snow has lightened up across southeastern Minnesota and southwestern Wisconsin. Next couple of hours, it will come to an end, but some pretty impressive sights in the Winona area. I'll share those with you coming up in just a few minutes. Another little batch of flurries here coming in from the west. We'll talk about the impact those might have on our region coming up through the rest of the day today into the overnight tonight.
Gray.
And yes, it is fairly gray, but I do see at least one bright spot in the forecast and a warm one too. We'll talk more about that in a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Mike.
Dissolve 3.
All right, keep watching.
Stand by break.
News at noon.
And you can roll. 3 minutes.
So did you see there was an earthquake in Southern California? You want to mention it?
Oh no, an earthquake in Southern California. 5.1, wow.